Hey, welcome everybody to Reptales. I think this is volume 16, isn't it, Mike?
I believe so. Should be.
Yeah, woo! How is everybody tonight? Tonight we're going to be talking about to snake or not to snake. Very interesting topic for me because I have no snakes. Mike has many snakes, so this should be very good.
Yeah,
Um,
just a few.
yeah, and he's got a snake called Q, my dream snake. I can't wait to talk about this one. But we are just a bunch of fish keepers sitting around enjoying making content on YouTube, but we have a lot of reptiles that we like to tell our tales about. So that's why we've just started this live stream on Friday night called Reptales. And we just tell our tales about our reptiles. We have guest speakers come up. We have breeders come up. We have all different things with Q&A, and sometimes we have our panel with just a topic. So I'm so glad you guys are all here. And if you're watching the replay, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Very much so.
Yeah, to snake or not to snake, Mike, you're going to have to tell me, why do you even have snakes? Why? Like,
I, I'm probably like just about every other person. You grow up being taught to be afraid of snakes. That's what that generation always teaches you is the snake is out for one thing, to bite you. And that's completely opposite of what their existence is about. A snake doesn't want to bite you ever. Uh, then I got my first snake, and it was just instant love.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was your first snake?
My first snake was Dusty, my male pastel inchy ball python. He's about 3.5 feet long now.
Oh, oh. And
Uh,
he's never bitten you.
no, I mean he's raised up to his striking pose a couple times, but he's never actually struck at me.
What is a strike pose? Because I'm new to snakes, don't have any snakes. Uh, as long as I'm with John Bag of Donuts, which I think it's till death do us part, we're gonna have a snake. So,
And
oh, I think you froze, or did I freeze? Did I freeze? I have to go on YouTube to see if it was me or you. Well, in case it's me, I'm not going to do anything obnoxious because I might not be frozen. Let's see. Looks like I'm still moving. I'm still grooving. Okay, I got it on YouTube. I'm still moving. Oh, it's Mike. Well, since he can't tell us why he has a snake and now he's gone, I could tell you why I don't. So, I'm a little afraid of snakes. I have never actually held a snake. I do have a dream snake in mind. It seems like the care of snakes, now that I know that they're not aggressive for the most part. I guess it depends on your species and the individual snake. But John is vehemently opposed to having any animal that I have to feed mice to, and he's not a fan of snakes at all. So I he supports me in my fish keeping hobby, and I do have 24 other species of reptiles that he supports me on, but no snakes. So one of the main reasons I can, and I know there's a lot of people out there, their spouse is like, absolutely not. A lot of spouses are like that with just reptiles, in general that are going to eat bugs. They don't want the bugs in the house. They don't want crickets and worms. So I would love a Western hognose tricolored snake. So I think the tricolored Q, you can feed toads to a hognose. See, then I wouldn't even have to feed them. I wouldn't have any frozen mice or rats. I don't think they get big enough to ever eat rats, do they? But I keep frogs, and I don't have any toads, but I keep frogs as pets. I think I'd have to get over that. And are toads easy to breed? Could I like breed my own toads? Oh my gosh. I might have to revisit this with John Baga. Thank you for that. Thank you for the, oh my gosh. I don't know if Mike's going to come back. We'll see. Crown Tail Half Moon's in the house. Why? Going to kick Mike out just to be first. That's funny. Hello, Sky Dancer. Spaghetti Nona. Look at everybody in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. Where's Monica Lynn? Did I see somebody say hi? Monica Lynn. I don't see her name, but I see. Oh, there she is. Hi, Susie, Sam, Mike, Pam, Bob, everyone else. I think there's some people running late. Lady R. Hi there, everyone. I'll be in the chat soon. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Furloughs Aquatics. You should be up here for this one with the snakes. Ay, ay, ay. You should be up here talking about snakes because I only know the argument of why not to have snakes. And if I'm the only one up here, that's all people are going to hear. And that would suck because I do know now, not growing up. Here's my interaction with snakes. There's a small story. We moved to my house in Waverly, Pennsylvania. I think I was 3 or 4 years old. And I fell and I got bit by a snake. And my parents freaked out. They took me all over trying to find a doctor. You know, and of course I was screaming like a lunatic, like a little girl, you know, but it was a garden snake. Had no idea. No idea. It was just a snake and it bit me because I fell on her or it. I fell on it. And ever since then, I kind of had the feeling that snakes were going to bite me if you do something wrong, you know, but obviously if you're going to step on it, it's got to survive somehow, right? And that was a long time ago. Since then, I've touched a snake. Where were we at? Oh, I forget where we went on like a field trip and we got to touch snakes. And I say field trip, I was a grown up. I wasn't a child. And I do watch a lot of videos on them. A lot of us fish keepers have snakes. I just don't have a snake. Thank you, Y. Thank you for posting that. But if John Bag of Donuts would let up. Now, I thought about, I don't know anything about the legless lizard that looks like a snake, but I know my blue-tongued skink is very similar to a snake. I guess it's just a fat one. Maybe I guess he's not even similar. I don't have anything that's like a snake. I have bearded dragons, nowhere near like a snake. Leopard geckos, not a snake. Crested geckos, blue-tongued skinks, Chinese water dragon, but nope. And I've also heard that they escape. So that would not be good. And just to confirm it, I think we were sitting around talking and Bob had one of his snakes got out. And I think he's got them since, and I know I have had my Chinese water dragon get out of her enclosure one time. And she was pretty easy to find because she was so large. But that would be a problem if I had to tell John that a snake got out of their enclosure. I just cleaned 3 snake enclosures today. And no one even tried to bite me while I had my hands all in their faces. That's so cool. So if somebody was a little afraid of snakes. Like I even have some of my reptiles that I keep. I don't handle them. They're, oh, look, I got pretty animals. I got, they're spectator pet. But I see you guys handling the snakes all the time. How does somebody get over that fear? Snakes only escape if your name is Bob Kaler or Mike. Furl says you do have to be careful with them. I learned how to read their actions and mannerisms, and don't handle them if you have handled mice. Well, I don't think I ever have to worry about that. Although I do catch mice that the kitten has caught and have to dispose of them. But how do you, okay, so I'm assuming all snakes show different signs, like of how they're about to strike, right? Or the food pose. I'm sorry I'm late, Lucky says. I'm getting used to the half-hour time change. Why do you have a half-hour time change? What does that mean? What is a half-hour time change? Woo! Lucky says, I personally love snakes, but my wife has a terrible phobia. She just recently held a snake when I was showing her a wild, calm garter snake. And did that help her, or did that make it worse by her holding one? Water dragons can run on their hind legs. Had one in college, exactly. And they look funny as all get out when they're doing that. Mine just climbed right to the top of the curtain, and my daughter found her. Furlough, open my enclosures, and my carpets are always ready for food. Carpet pythons. I just tap their head with the hook, and they're back. Lucky, are you in Australia? Yes, 7:30 is the start time I wanted to start at. For some reason, last week we had to start at 7, and I think I just made this one for 7. But I would prefer 7:30. This was very, very rushed. Getting here, getting on time, and getting in there. So that made it very hard. But I prefer 7:30. I do that too, Patrick. Let me see. What did he do? What does he do? Or you just top to tap with their hook? Yeah, I've seen both. I haven't seen Dragon Lair you work, but I've seen you interact with your snakes, and it's amazing. She would never hold a snake before last summer. So I would like to hold a snake, but let me give you, for instance. Oh, that's what you mean, the half-hour change. Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I don't like the half-hour change. You guys tell me in the chat if you like it at 7 versus 7:30. I personally need a little bit more time to get stuff ready after school and stuff like that. But so dealing with a parrot, if you show fear, you're not going to be trusted. So if I go to pet Sophie and I pull my hand back or ask her to step up, and she uses her beak to step, like it's almost like a third leg. And if she tests the finger to make sure it's sturdy and I pull back, she's not going to step up. And I just didn't know if snakes were like that as well, or is it? And I know horses are like that too, and even dogs, they can feel your emotion. So if you're on the end of a leash with a dog and you're feeling all tense and excited, the dog is going to be tense and excited. Is it that way with a snake? Is it something, if I can never overcome that, then, or are snakes totally, totally different and don't care? See, Furlough says, same with snakes. They can sense fear. Welcome back, Mike. Where'd you go? Did you go on vacation? Where'd you go?
Yep, I did. Sorry, everybody, lost power, and it takes this old computer forever and a day to reboot back up. So
okay,
but I'm here.
Yeah. So
there's not even a storm or any wind out, so I don't know what happened.
He's got a new name, Silver Queef. I saw that last week. So hi, Q and everybody. Over here in Stockholm, Sweden, a cobra escaped up into a roof of a public zoo 4 or 5 days ago. Ongoing search. Elise Skansen Zoo, if you want to Google it. That is cool. Now, is a cobra venomous?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a little different. The hognose is venomous, but I don't think it would actually hurt an adult if it actually did bite. First of all, the fangs are all the way in the back, right? So it'd have to really
Right.
get on you to get the fangs.
And their fangs, it's not like a cobra or something like that. As soon as they bite you, it shoots venom out of their fangs. A hognose has to chew on your finger or whatever for a while to get that venom in you. And probably the most that's going to happen is swollen hands or some minor
And
irritation. So,
minor irritation. That's not the part that would bother me.
right.
It'd be the my jerking back reaction, not knowing what to do, how to unlatch, and
Well,
now instilling my feelings into the snake even more.
a hognose is different from other snakes. They come built with a built-in can opener, let's say,
Oh, that
because
little nose.
they're that you can lift that up and you can open their mouth.
Okay. Wow, it's a 4-meter cobra that escaped. That's the largest venomous snake. Ah, I don't think I'd be going to that zoo until they got it. You know, as Tom Crutchfield says, when the keeper and the kept lose their fear of each other, then a relationship can develop. That's exactly what happened with Sophie and myself. Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Hmm. Like he says, the problem with the word cobra, the king cobra, is not considered to be a true cobra species. It's all very confusing and highly venomous. Oh, that is just having that escape. So, what do you do to keep your snakes from escaping, Mike? 'Cause that
Um,
would be an issue. That would be an issue.
I like I said, I want to change all my snakes to front opening and enclosures, but until I do, I have screen lids on them, and I do go a little nuts on how many clips I put on the lid. I overdo it.
And that will keep them in.
Yeah.
Because I know, like a rodent or something, they can squeeze through the tiny cracks of
Mhm.
anything.
A snake, you would be surprised how small of an opening they can get through too.
Oh. Dragon Lair says a few drops of vodka will make a snake let go.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I can't see me running to the liquor store with a snake attached to me. Can I get the vodka? Oh my goodness, that's funny. That's funny that that's even a thing now. You need to instill a good sense of humor and Stockholm syndrome in your animals. What?
Yeah. And I think, like I said before, none of my snakes have bitten me yet. And I think in my mind, I've still got a little fear of that because I don't know what it's like. But when I'm handling my snakes, I'm I'm very cautious and always looking and checking their body language. So I haven't
Um,
run across that situation yet. And I've told Bob for months I wish I could get that first bite over with so I know what to expect.
really? So, as a motorcycle rider, I had an accident several years ago and broke my tibia plateau in several places. And everybody was like, phew, now that that's over, there's not going to be any more fear. I don't think that was the same. Although I wasn't afraid to get back on. Is there a way to put a poll in the chat?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Do you know how?
Uh,
So here's my question to the people in the chat, because that's, and I trust me, I love my replayers, but I'm just curious if they prefer 7 o'clock or 7:30.
I think you have to do it on the YouTube side.
Really? Really? Because that would be, and you can do it while. Let's see if we get some echo going. I'll probably get lots and lots of echo here.
I believe for the creator who owns the stream, it's under the
Okay.
super chat button. And Jenny, I'm not going to get any snakes out tonight. They're all getting fed after the stream's over, so they're all pretty hungry.
All right. So I just put a poll out there, and I'll leave it up for a while. It's saying if you want to keep the time at 7:30, click yes. If you would rather have it at 7 o'clock and over at 8, click no. And then we'll see 7:30 or it cuts over cold water aquatics. What time does cold water aquatics come on?
I think like 5 o'clock my time, I think.
Ah, and I think that's originally why I suggested 7:30, because if there were aquatic people on, it would be less of an overlap. Not that we were worried because we were more reptiles than anything. But so far, no, it's still going. Look at that. Yeah. This chat's pretty cool. I'll leave it up for a little while because it's fun. Never did a chat before. 82% so far are saying yes. 18 are saying no, which means 82% right now. Keep it at 7:30.
We start at the new time tonight?
No, we started. Well, I started at 7 only because I was running late and had no clue what I was doing, and it was very hurried and rushed. So we should have started at 7:30. I don't think we're supposed to have a new time.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for it. I know Bob said that Wicked Reptiles was going, and I don't see any sign of him streaming.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about that. We can always, I mean, he's got thousands of people who watch him. I think our people we're fine.
I think it's impossible to worry about stepping on somebody else's toes right now because there's so many of us.
And how many do we have in the chat?
Says 14.
I think we're good. I don't think keeping 14 people away from anybody is gonna hurt anybody's feelings. Please. And Bunny's got a point. We want to see everything. I do too. I want to see the fish, the reptiles, that whole white squirrel thing going on. I like it all. I like all the animals. And if there was a parrot channel going on, I just don't want to watch anything steady.
Yeah.
It's just always in the background while I'm doing work. Always.
And Bunny, I agree. That has been one of the coolest things that I have discovered starting this stream up is how many of the fish fam are into reptiles or want to be through the rest of us. That's just been amazing.
Yeah, I'm having a blast with it. And thank you, Lucky. Yeah. Thank you, Lucky, for explaining. Adam Wicken was on a trip last week. That's why he didn't go.
Oh, okay.
And Dragon said this was a sweet Burmese who never bit anyone, and it was his fault. A hand fed her all the time, had a guinea pig in my hand, and I woke her up and she struck from surprise. Okay. That's the kind of thing that would instill, like if I was getting softer and warmer and closer and blah, that would reset me back to square zero, negative zero, negative 10, negative whatever.
Right.
Now, my leopard gecko bit me. My leopard gecko, which is a sweet thing, that she was just scared. And I still had the top opening enclosure before I had the front opening one. And I usually put my hand in there so she could crawl on it. And I never like attacked her kind of thing or grabbed her. But she like did her hind legs, little barking thing, grabbed. It was like razors on my. I haven't handled her since. Isn't that silly? And we're talking a sweet little leopard gecko.
Yeah. Well, 17 people have voted,
Ooh.
and 71% say we should keep it at the original time.
Okay. That's probably what we're going to keep doing. I'll keep it up there for a few more minutes, but yeah. Oh, there's my merch. Thank you very much. Do you have a merch channel, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
We should post that link. Mickey M says, hey to Alishan. Let's see. Oh, oh, you got the Only Oscars mug. I'm glad you like it. She's amazing. She's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I've only been bitten by leopard geckos, right? Now, I did just I have a scaleless bearded dragon. And I think her perception is off a little bit. I got a tong feeder because even then she misses the cricket and grabs the tongs. And it takes me a while to feed her. I think she has a little special needs, actually. But she missed and grabbed me. That hurt. I didn't think bearded dragons hurt. Oh my gosh, that hurt. But I'm still not scared of her. So I guess it's just something I'd have to get over. Ivy, you're not allowed to delete your comments. Uh-oh. I needed to. Dragon says, I didn't pull away, so she opened her mouth and backed off. Oh. Okay. And that's the key to Sophie, too, for the most part. If she's going to nip at you to see if you're going to move or if you're steady, you got to hold steady. You can't flinch. How do you not flinch when a snake is, what'd you call it? Not striking a pose, like biting you. How do you not flinch? Like, how do you, well, I guess you can get past the fact you're not going to die from it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too skittish.
That goes back to what I say. I almost wish that I could have one of them bite me to get it over with because I don't know. So that if it does happen, then there's no worries.
Ah, right. Woo!
Oh.
Yeah. So talk about their feeding, because I want to know more about the snakes. I know, I give you for instance, my tortoises, every morning they get, salad and water. Every morning, no matter what. They don't ever skip a time. Some of them get bugs a couple times a week. My Uromastics, they get salad every day. Never skip a feeding. My bearded dragons get salad every day, but they get bugs like a couple times a day. I don't think I have any animals. Well, my blue tongue skink, I feed every other day. So what is the snake schedule for eating? And how do you know what that is? Like,
and Lucky, that's kind of exactly what I was saying. If I could get bit once and get it over with. But as far as feeding snakes, depends on their size. A baby, you probably want to feed once every 5 days, 5 to 7 days. An adult snake, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So right now, all of my snakes are fed once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
And how do you know? Like for most of my animals, the bug has to be about the size between the eyes. How do you know how big of a rodent to feed your?
You don't want to feed them anything bigger than the thickest part of their body.
Well, like your hognose is tiny.
Yeah. But I'm going to find out tonight because it's going to be the first time I feed him tonight. But they say they can eat a pinky just like nothing. And
Oh,
he
you haven't.
is.
So when
He
they're
is so small.
and your pinky that you have is going to be alive.
No, I only feed frozen thawed.
So, and these are my honest questions that I have. There's sometimes I get saltwater fish and they're caught from the wild and they only eat live food. And I have to do this transition period of getting them off live food onto frozen food. That doesn't happen like they're born and they just eat frozen food.
That is a lot of snakes when they're first born. You have to start out feeding them live and then transfer them to frozen thawed.
And how do you transition them over?
Maybe their first couple of feedings, you feed them a live pinky, and then after that, you might have to wait them out. Just only feed them a frozen thaw, and you might have to wait them out a couple weeks or so. And if they start losing weight, then you give them another live one.
Okay.
And just keep trying that until it's the same way like Dusty. I started him out on mice, and then I transitioned him to rats, which took a couple weeks because he's
Well, like
used
a
to
rat is like this big. That's like the size of his body. That big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was rat weanling. But I had to wait him out a couple weeks when doing that, and finally got him switched over to a rat. But I had to scent the rat with the mouse so he could get that scent too, and then he took it.
So, Lucky says I feed every animal depending on their body. Some once a week, some a few times a week, some every other week during the winter. When they slow down, they greatly decrease the need to feed. Do they brumate like my other reptiles?
I don't think a ball python will.
Okay. Furloughed feeds his babies once a week. That'd be like what you're doing with your hognose, right?
Right.
It's just the baby. And then big snakes once every couple weeks. So, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
And I did hear that after you feed them, you don't touch them. Like you don't handle them, I should say.
Yeah, you don't want to handle them for a couple days.
Now, Dragon Lair feeds his carpet pythons, right?
Mm-hmm.
They eat quail, and that's twice the size as big as their body. Wow. Lucky says, I had an easier time transitioning a snake from live to frozen to freeze thawed than I did transit my Amazon from seed to pellet diet. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I still can't get Sophie on pellets. I mean, I put the pistachios, I grind them up almost to a dust and stir it around the pellets because she loves her pistachios and cashews.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to trick her, but she's a tough nut. And you could say just don't feed her, but then she's going to scream at the top of her lungs where neighbors a mile away will hear her. She's like, parrots are just a whole different animal. They call that permission-based training. So if she's not in the mood, it's not you don't train them. You just don't train them. She has to want to be trained. Like you just don't force them into it because it's like they hold a grudge or something.
Yeah, and the thing to lot of people forget and freak out is if they're trying to, like, say, transition their snake from a mouse to a rat, something like that. If the snake doesn't eat for a couple weeks or so, that's no worry. A snake can go a long time without eating.
Okay, so here's my other question.
Just
Sophie
got to
has
watch them to make sure they're not losing weight.
yeah, Sophie has a stand that she stands on and it weighs her. I've got a bowl on top of my scale for my bearded dragon. He fits in the bowl. How do you weigh a snake? That's three. Like, how do you weigh a snake and know if they're losing weight or not? Like, I just can't even imagine. Do you tell this to just stay in the bowl? Like, like what? What? How do you weigh your snake? Not balls.
Get rid of that little troll.
Mike.
What was that? I was taking care of a troll.
Oh, we got a troll. Oh. How does oh, is that the message I put up? My
Yeah.
balls. I said it out loud too. How do you weigh a snake?
You get like one of those smaller scales, like a gram snail or a gram scale. Put a container on the top of it, zero it out, put your snake in the container.
All right, Lady R is saying the same thing I would think, that frozen thawed for any future snakes. And she's saying it's safer, it's more humane, and more hygienic.
Well, it also keeps your snake from getting hurt, because if your snake doesn't eat the rodent right away, that rodent can actually bite and kill your snake. So,
oh, that's horrible. Yeah.
So,
his Amazon would throw the pellets. I can show you right now. There are pellets and little tiny fruit chunks all over the floor here. Sophie sticks her whole face in there, shakes her head like this, so that goes flying until she finds a cashew or pistachio. and I've been working with her for years. I don't know if I'll ever get her off. Look, he's saying it's like a toddler, but he's got scissors on her face. That's so true. Oh my gosh. Especially if you don't know what you're doing, feeding live can be very dangerous. I would agree with that.
I totally agree, Lucky. Feeding live is extremely, if you got an expensive snake and you put a live rodent in there and your snake doesn't eat it for whatever reason, and you come back in the next day and your snake is dead.
Dragon Lair has a great workaround. He has a box and a lid that he weighs and zeroes out the scale, then puts the snake inside the box so he can measure if the snake is losing weight or not. That's that. I get that then. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. The people who are afraid of snakes, I mean, I would never kill a snake. I would never kill a snake. I would not like, oh, we got to get rid of all the snakes in the world. And I've seen people who have that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping we can change some of that attitude. But I think I would need to hold a few snakes. And a reptile show is not the place to do that, because it's kind of like shaking hands with everybody. It's like you're going to get past germs back and forth between all these beautiful animals. First of all, the dealers, the breeders, they don't want you handling their snake if you handle somebody else's snake. Like the mites, I guess, can transfer pretty easily and things like that. So where would I go to get comfortable with snakes, and what would be a good snake besides a hognose to get comfortable with?
I think I have to disagree with you a little bit on that one.
Go ahead.
I think a reptile show is a good place.
Really? I heard the breeders didn't want to handle them.
Most breeders are stocked with hand sanitizer.
Oh, okay.
So I think I would disagree with you on that one.
So you think I could go there and just like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if I did it a couple times and got used to it, and like Furlow was saying, you got to understand their body language. You got to understand their language. When they're happy, when they're sad, when they're scared, when they're hungry. Like I can read Sophie now really good, where in the beginning I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you just from when I walk in the room if I need to stay 4 inches away from her face or not. By the way her eyes dilate, by the feathers on her head, whether they're standing up or not, the tone in the word when she says hello is very different. When she says hello versus hello, it's like, whoa, 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 okay. And she
And
uses a bell in there to communicate.
Lucky brings up a good point of where to go to is a local owned reptile store.
Oh, that would be good. Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
Dragon says he carries sanitizer. Okay. So you take on that responsibility yourself.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I would rather do that than
Mm-hmm.
get up to a table trying to find sanitizer. That makes sense. Yeah. There's a lot of reptile shows have a big snake that's just there to be held. Whew.
And Jenny Lynn, since you're still here, I wanted to ask you, how was your experience first time handling your snake that you got? And how did you overcome? Did you have a fear of picking it up, or?
While you're waiting for her to answer, she's got a question for you. She's been looking into coconut husk bark several places and read that getting mites from the coconut husk is a possibility. So, any suggestions?
I have read that too, Jenny. I only use, like my ball pythons, I only use Reptibark. I kind of tend to stay away from the coconut stuff. Like my corn snakes and my uh, other snakes, I use aspen.
Dragon says definitely cute. I don't want to make anyone's snake sick because I handled someone exactly. Okay,
Right.
that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So then I should be the responsible one and carry like a necklace of it on or something. Because I really do. I don't even know why do I want to get comfortable with snakes if I know I'm never going to own one. I'm going to pout now. I'm going to go back to pouting. Here we go. Jenny said a little nervous, but it quickly subsided. Jasper is very calm and had been handled by his breeder.
Okay, cool. That's
Oh,
very cool, Jenny.
oh, yeah. That's how my first blue tongue skink was. They were constantly handled them, knowing though they were going to take them to a show and sell her, but they constantly handled her so that they could make it more friendly. Whereas the second one I got was not. I don't think was ever handled except for to give medicine to. So when I got him and I still had to give medicine to her, I was like, she's not real happy with me here. But the blue tongue skink you can hold in such a way they can't turn their head around. Like they're
Yeah,
so chunky.
right.
They're so chunky. She says, I don't have any fear of getting in his enclosure, cleaning it, or getting him out. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
Do you have a reptile store not far from you?
No, but when I was camping, I had a camper set up. I had become friends with the local fish store there, which was also reptiles.
Okay.
And then I could have done it there, but that's over an hour and a half away, and I don't have the
Mm.
camper anymore. And around here, there's like Petco, PetSmart, or like the local fish store has some. Now, is Alice in the chat?
It was.
There is a fish store in New Jersey. I remember I went to it when I was on my motorcycle once, going a little bit north. Adams Safaris and Pets and
Mhm.
Safaris. And he's got a lot of reptiles, so maybe I should start going there more often.
But you could even go to your Petco or there. I wouldn't advise to buy anything there, but you could go there and handle a couple snakes or
Milky says, I have only one source of coconut fiber that I trust, and I have no idea the name. I just keep one empty bag in my car. It's organic, heat treated cocoa fiber. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't realize the only experience I had with mites was the fear of getting them when I had my dart frogs. And when you're making the flightless fruit flies,
mm-hmm.
if you let them turn past maturity, you can get mites real easy.
Okay.
So I had them sitting in a quarter inch of water. So even if I did get mites and they got out, they couldn't spread. And I had this, it looked like Christmas wrap or present wrapping paper that I put down that was a repellent for mites. So I had those two things going on and I had it excluded from my reptile room. But once I stopped using the fruit flies or the flightless fruit flies, I never even thought about that. How do you check to see if an animal has mites, especially a snake?
A snake, you want to check their belly real good. That's just holding them up and kind of
Are they
looking.
visible?
Oh, yeah, they are.
So you would see them like moving around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh. For some reason, I thought they'd be like hidden under the scales, like, like under. I get, is there an under the scales part or is the scale attached?
The mites can get under the scales, yes.
Okay.
But if you look closely enough, you can see the mites running in and out.
So, and I know with my reptiles that I keep, the enclosure is the bigger the better. The bigger the better, the more they can explore about it. And I'm hearing from you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's different with a snake. They like the closed quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Right.
Because I'm thinking if I had a snake, I would need a 6 foot long by 2 foot enclosure so that I like if you have a fish and it's going to be 12 inches, you can't have a 55-gallon tank because they have to turn around. Like, does it anything like that for a snake, or are all snakes different?
Well, I know I've had conversations with Whipster because he can't get past keeping fish and how we measure tank space for them versus a snake, because a snake you don't have to keep as long of an enclosure for how big they are than you do for a fish, because a snake is a lot more agile and can turn around on a dime.
Okay.
So if you want tank size for a snake, you usually figure it
Like
the
a 40 breeder.
or like a 55. You take the front measurement of the tank and the side measurement of the tank, and that should be at least 1.5 times of the length of your snake.
Ah, but you said you have a 3 foot snake.
Yeah.
So that means you would need 1.5 times. You would need a 6 foot. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you need
So
something.
yeah, you don't just take the measurement of the tank
Okay.
lengthways. You take the front measurement and the side measurement.
So, and I see that it depends on the snake. I get that because some of my reptiles are climbers, not arboreal, but they're
Mhm.
climbers. So I've been able to build a second story inside their enclosure. So not only do they have the 4 feet on this floor, 4 foot by 2 foot, they can go up the log and they have another 4 foot by 18 inches. And one or two of them, I'm going to make a 4 foot by 12-inch ledge to give them like it's going to be like a 3 story, you know, condo so that they can explore and get entertained and have
Hmm.
all different heating elements and stuff like that. So that would be like not all snakes are arboreal, but most snakes climb. I've seen them in PetSmart and Petco. They're climbing up the glass.
That's
They're stretching out.
all of my ball pythons, my new hog snake, my corn snakes. They all climb.
What would you think is the smartest snake out there? Like one, like I would say the monitors are the like very intelligent reptile. What would you say for snakes? Are there like ones that can like the raptor that can figure out the enclosure, figure out the locks, unlock it themselves, like that kind of thing?
Hmm.
Like my parrot can twist the nut bolt until it comes out because she knows that'll take the door off.
I have read what is supposedly the smartest snake, and I think it's a reticulated python.
Isn't that also one of the biggest?
Right.
Oh, oh,
But
dang.
they are very intelligent. They watch you opening and closing their enclosures, and they learn how to do. They.
So my parrot does. She watches me. She
Mhm.
watches me when I add a toy on to see how I'm attaching it, so she knows how to detach it.
Yeah. Right.
Wait a second here. Hey, John, bag of donuts. Do you mind if I get a snake? It was worth a shot. It was worth a shot, man. Cobras are highly extremely even a small one. How big does a Western hognose get?
The tricolor I got,
Yeah.
males max out probably 1.5 feet.
Oh, it's a small one, babe. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore." Ugh. He just might cave. I mean, till death do us part is a long time away. He might cave before we die, right? You never know. He might, but I doubt it. But it just seems like there's more pros
Mm-hmm.
to caring for a snake than there are cons. It would seem that way, and it does depend on the snake and the species. But let me go back up to our. Where's that pole? Where does it go? Does it just disappear? Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Let's see, 19 votes, 74% normal time.
Okay. So next week we'll be back at 7:30. We haven't figured out whose channel yet, but check out the Facebook page because that will always tell you where. Just click the link on the Facebook page because we're rotating and moving. It might stay. It might keep moving. It depends.
That's I think next month is supposed to be Pam's month, but she's seeming to be a little reluctant. So
Well, yeah, because she has all those storms out there, and she's always losing electricity and losing that. So we'll just stay tuned to the Facebook page, and you'll see. Mike, do you know of any upcoming reptile shows in your area?
no, because we don't really have any.
First, oh my, I am blessed. I would say every other month there's a reptile show about an hour and a half away, 3 hours away. There's one every other month, and they like coincide. So it's like every month I could go. It's just such a long drive. But
Yeah, I just found a reptile store about an hour away from me. So that has helped. And
I think I might check out Adam's Safari. I think I might check that out because I know Tom or Alishan said before that they have he has reptiles as well as fish. So that's
cool.
killing two birds. Sorry, Sophie. It's killing, two ideas with one visit.
Well. Look who the cat drug in.
He got swept away by two adorable puppies.
They
That's
were
the only
beautiful.
reason you are excused.
They
Well,
were
thank you,
beautiful.
Mike, for enlightening us about the snakes and making it easier for people to enjoy snakes. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm definitely a wannabe. I don't mind being a wannabe. I was a wannabe bike rider until all four kids turned 18 or over. So I can be a wannabe snake owner for a while. I'm okay with that.
My biggest piece of advice on snakes is get one.
Yeah. I like my Johnny Bag of Donuts though. So
it's just you can learn all the.
Is the snake gonna feed me every night? Is the snake gonna bring home the bacon?
I know. I know one of his arguments was keeping the frozen rodents in the refrigerator, but you could overcome that. You just go to the store and get what he needs the night of his feeding instead of keeping.
Yeah, because now I realize it's only like once a week.
Yeah,
that's not so bad. I'll work on him. It didn't sound like he was budging. It sounded like he tuned me right out. Well, thank you everybody for coming out. Stay tuned. Go to the Facebook page. It's definitely going to be 7:30 next week. And it's going to be on either Bob's, mine, Mike's channel. It'll be on somebody's channel. Pam will be back with us. She had an errand to run, so I'm pretty excited about this. And if you know anybody who's interested in coming up onto our stream and talk about what they breed or what they have or what they house or their experience with them, we'd love to have you. So just let us mess one of us because spots fill up pretty quickly. But I'm having a blast. What about you, Mike?
Oh, this has been the best thing I've ever done on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
And Lucky Smith, we still would love to have you as a guest.
Oh, absolutely. Lucky and Patrick and
yep.
Oh my God, there's so many. There's so many out there that I just don't know if a lot of people feel funny about live streams. I'm not sure why, but
it's just we haven't had a bad guest yet.
No, not at all.
There's
no such thing because we're so awesome. Laid back. We're so laid back, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mike. Do you have anything to add before we end?
Just like to thank moderators, everybody in chat, lurkers, replay crew. Love each and every one of you.
Oh, look at somebody's in the same boat with me. They got their list of wannabes. There's Lady R. That's okay.
So I never asked that, Bruiser. Were you into snakes before, or then you finally convinced Jenny Lynn to expand her base of knowledge? Or that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Thank you, Bruiser.
Yeah, I would say Lady Rorschach Morph Market is probably one of the better places to get a snake.
All right. Until next week, I hope everybody has an amazing week. Mike, have a great weekend. I'm sure, hopefully I'll see some of you on Sunday night when I do my regular live.
Yep.
And then Tennessee Fish Mafia after that.
And I think I will be doing my stream Sunday morning. I'm supposed to be Well, 11 o'clock my time. So,
What is that my time? Like 2 o'clock?
let's see, that's 11 Central. So you're what, Eastern?
Okay, that's just 1 hour different, right?
Yeah, I think so.
At the moment.
I haven't been able to stream, but off and on here the last few weeks, work keeps screwing with my schedule, but I'm supposed to be off. So I
Cool.
will probably stream Sunday.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see y'all next week, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody. Love you.